Welcome back, guys, to another video. Today we're diving straight into some fresh, updated tips and tricks I've picked up over the past few seasons. Some of these might totally change the way you play, and others are just going to make your life a whole lot easier. But trust me, they're all worth sticking around for. But hold up, big announcement first. We've officially partnered with the amazing team over at RNG. And listen, RNG is not your everyday Discord server. We're talking massive events, chances to win elite units, security council, and even real cash prizes. And if that's not your thing, they've still got almost daily giveaways for every member. So if you don't want to miss out, hit that first link in the description, join up, and let them know I sent you. And hey, if you're new around here, consider subscribing. We are getting so close to that 3K goal, and I would love to have you along for the ride. While you're down there, drop a comment letting me know your favorite tip or your favorite unit in the game. And if you want to go that extra mile to support me, don't forget to use code Icarus on the web store when grabbing your security council or gold. It helps out more than you know, and I seriously appreciate it. All right, with all that out of the way, let's jump right into it. Tip 1, and this is a big one. What if I told you that one of the most useful units in the entire game is something you already start with? Yep. You guessed it, the combat recon vehicle. Now, the veterans out there already know what's up, but for everyone else, this thing is one of the earliest and easiest tools you have to reveal stealth ground units like special forces. And I know what you're thinking. Okay, but how useful can that really be? Trust me, you've almost definitely had enemy special forces wandering around inside your borders without even realizing it. Here's where it gets crazy. If you're lucky enough to pick up a special forces signal, whether it's from the sea or the air, you might actually have enough time to garrison every city with a recon vehicle, completely nullifying their stealth advantage. That's right. Goodbye, sneaky base sabotage. And the best part? They take only 7 minutes and 30 seconds to research on 4x speed, and all you need is a level 1 army base to mobilize them. Sure, they might be a little niche, but when that niche moment hits, you'll be so glad you knew about this. Tip 2, and trust me, this one is way more important than it sounds. This might seem super simple, but you'd be amazed how many players completely ignore it. Sometimes the smartest play you can make is to stop pushing, take a breather, and reinforce your position before going any further. Let me paint you a picture. Say I'm playing as an African nation, and I've already taken Algeria and Morocco while my opponent is holding Spain. In that situation, Spain is a far better place to land and get boots on the ground than somewhere like Italy. And here's why. Italy is basically a giant target, vulnerable to air and naval attacks from practically every direction across Europe. But Spain, all the way in the southwest, it's much harder for enemies to reach with air bases, especially those southern regions. On top of that, northern Spain gives you natural defensive advantages. Around Zaragoza and Torrelavega, you only need to defend 2 major choke points instead of 5 if you push all the way up to northern Spain. Now, don't get me wrong, definitely grab the surrounding provinces, that's free real estate, but don't waste your time defending every single one if they don't hold strategic value. Sometimes pulling back just a little and holding a tighter, more defensible line is the best move you can make. Think of the map like a network of roads. You can't just cut across wherever you want. You have to follow the paths laid out. So when you're setting up defenses, pay attention to how those paths funnel movement and use that to your advantage. Work smarter, not harder. Tip 3, and this one is huge. Relocate your capital and know exactly where to put it when it gets invaded. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched teammates and even enemies lose their capital. And hey, it happens to all of us sooner or later. But here's the key. The game does not end there. As soon as you lose your capital, you should be replacing it immediately. It's not just a minor inconvenience. Losing your capital crushes morale across your entire country. And honestly, morale is the difference between keeping your momentum rolling and completely falling apart. To rebuild your capital, just find the most optimal city, click it, hit build, and choose construct capital. So what do I mean by most optimal? Well, depending on what nation you're playing, the default capital isn't always in the best spot. I'm not saying go around relocating it in every match. That's rarely worth it. But if your capital gets taken out, That is the perfect time to reposition it somewhere much safer. Example time. Let's look at Australia. The capital starts in Sydney, and if it gets destroyed, you're facing a 9.5 hour rebuild timer, which is brutal. Instead, moving it to Alice Springs puts it deep inland, super safe from naval invasions. And with just a few air units nearby, it becomes incredibly easy to defend. So, remember this. When your capital falls, don't panic. Just rebuild smart and put it somewhere that's not going down a second time. Tip 4, and this one is a game changer for anyone who isn't already doing it. Most experienced players already know this trick, but if you're newer or you've just never paid attention to the numbers, this is going to massively improve the way you approach battles. The rule is super simple. Always attack with a full 10-unit stack whenever possible. 10 is the magic number. That's the maximum number of units that can fight full effectiveness in a single engagement. Anything beyond 10 doesn't increase your damage output. It just pushes extra units into the stack where they're not contributing and are only risking taking unnecessary damage. And here's why that matters. When you roll up with a full 10 stack, you'll often wipe out smaller garrisons in the very first round of combat. That's massive because it means the enemy gets fewer chances to deal damage back, which helps you preserve your army for the next fight. And that's the magic word, preservation. Supremacy isn't a game about endlessly replacing units. It's about keeping your existing forces alive and effective for as long as possible. Every unit you save is time, resources, and production that you can redirect into expansion, tech, or infrastructure instead of rebuilding what you just lost. Fight smart, hit hard, and protect what you build. Tip 5, and this is where we start getting into the recon and activity side of things. These next few tips are going to be a bit shorter, but trust me, they're absolutely critical if you want to get the upper hand on your neighbors early. Let's kick it off with something super simple but insanely powerful, using the different game views. Switching from the default map view to the political view is honestly one of the strongest habits you can build in Supremacy. It gives you a completely different angle on what's happening, showing who's expanding, who's teaming up, and who's losing ground. So how does that help you? Well, imagine you're playing near Afghanistan and Pakistan, and you notice they're not in the same coalition, but they're both expanding away from each other. That's a massive hint that there's probably a non-aggression pact or truce going on. Or here's another super common situation. In a ton of games, once the American coalitions fully clean up their side of the world, they almost always start pushing into West Africa first. If you're watching the political view, you'll see that movement instantly, giving you time to prepare before they start sinking their teeth into Africa, Europe, or the Middle East. Spotting those shifts early can be the difference between getting steamrolled and being ready to counterattack before they even reach your coastline. Bonus tip for the veterans. Jump into the morale view to track where the most recent battles happened. Dark red provinces usually mean territories that just changed hands, and that always means activity. That lets you see who's currently active, who's fighting who, where weak fronts or free land might appear. Combine political view, morale view, and you'll have an almost perfect read on the entire board without sending a single scout. Information wins wars. Don't sleep on it. Tip 6. Still talking morale, and this one is so underrated. If you spot an enemy who's gone inactive, that is free real estate just waiting to be claimed. And if you don't take it, you can bet someone else will swoop in and grab it. But here's where a lot of players totally mess this up. They forget that morale spreads between neighboring provinces. When you take new land, the morale of each province is influenced by the morale of the ones right next to it. So instead of randomly capturing scattered provinces all over the map, you want to chain your expansion. Capture territories that touch each other in a continuous line. As morale starts climbing in one province, it boosts the next one along the chain, and then the next. And what you get is a snowball effect. Your region stabilizes faster, your production jumps up, rebellions drop massively, and you end up with a strong core powering everything you do next. So yeah, inactive nations might not sound exciting, but if you capture them strategically in a chain, you end up with a stable, high morale empire ready to fund your next big offensive. Don't let free land sit there. Take it smart and let morale do the heavy lifting. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Seriously, guys, I can't thank you enough for all the support lately, the comments, the likes, the new subscribers. It means so much, and it's what keeps me motivated to keep making these guides for you. If you found any of these tips helpful, make sure to drop a comment and let me know which one you're going to start using in your next game. I love seeing you guys improve and sharing strategies back and forth. And don't forget to check out my friends over at RNG. The link is right down below. They're doing some awesome stuff for the community. So definitely go give them some love and tell them I sent you. All right, guys. Thanks again for hanging out with me today. Take care, play smart, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.